In the world of Naruto, we've seen jutsus that can level entire nations, but the most famous and controversial technique in the franchise involves no chakra at all. I'm talking about Talk-no-Jutsu. To many, it's a running joke, a get-out-of-jail-free card Masashi Kishimoto uses to redeem villains when the plot gets too complicated. But if we look past the memes, is there something deeper happening? Is Naruto Uzumaki just a loud-mouthed kid, or is he practicing a form of dialectics and moral existentialism? Talk-no-Jutsu isn't just being nice. It follows a very specific three-act structure that mirrors psychological deconstruction. 1. The physical stalemate. Naruto rarely talks instead of fighting. He talks after fighting. He has to prove his physical resolve and power first to earn the right to be heard. 2. The shared trauma. He identifies a common pain, the famous line, "I was just like you." 3. The paradox of choice. He presents a third option to a villain who thinks they only have two choices, kill or be killed. To understand why this works, we have to look at the man who arguably invented the Talk-no-Jutsu of the ancient world, Socrates. In ancient Greece, Socrates didn't win arguments by shouting. He won them by asking questions. This is known as the Socratic Method, or elenchs. He would take a person's premise and follow it to their most logical and often absurd conclusion until the person realized their own beliefs were contradictory. Think about Naruto's confrontation with Nagato. Nagato's philosophy was built on justice through pain. He believed the only way to achieve peace was through a cycle of mutual nuclear deterrence. If everyone feels pain, no one will want to fight. It's cold, utilitarian logic. Naruto doesn't just say, "You're wrong." He uses a version of the Socratic Method. He forces Nagato to confront the contradiction in his soul. He claims to want peace, yet he is the primary source of suffering. By presenting the book, The Tale of the Utterly Gutsy Shinobi, Naruto reminds Nagato of his original premise, the person he was before the world broke him. When Naruto refuses to kill Nagato despite having every right to, he creates cognitive dissonance. Nagato's worldview dictates that Naruto must seek revenge. When Naruto doesn't, the logic of the cycle of hatred collapses. That is not a shonen power-up. That is a philosophical dismantling of an ideology. Another way to look at Talk-no-Jutsu is through George Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel and his idea of the dialectic. Hegel suggested that history moves forward through a specific process: thesis, an initial idea; antithesis, a conflicting idea; and synthesis, a new higher truth that emerges from the conflict. In the world of Naruto, the thesis is the old shinobi system, a world where ninjas are treated as tools, represented by characters like Danzo or the early Zabuza. The antithesis is the villain's reaction to that system, Nagato's nihilism or Obito's Eye of the Moon dream world. Talk-no-Jutsu is the synthesis. Naruto doesn't return to the status quo, but he doesn't let the villain win either. Instead, he takes the villain's valid pain, the antithesis, and combines it with his own hope, the thesis, to create a new way of living. He acknowledges that the world is cruel, but concludes that we must endure anyway. This is most evident with Gaara. Gaara's thesis was, "I exist only to kill." Naruto's thesis was, "I exist to be acknowledged." Through their clash, they find a synthesis. We exist to protect others. Talk-no-Jutsu is essentially Hegel with orange jumpsuits. Now let's talk about Jean-Paul Sartre and existentialism. The core tenet of existentialism is that existence precedes essence. This means we're born into the world without a predefined purpose. It is up to us to create our own meaning through our choices. The villains in Naruto are almost all determinists. They believe they are victims of fate, victims of the system, or victims of the curse of hatred. Neji believed his destiny was set at birth. Obito believed the world was a hell that couldn't be changed. Madara believed humanity was inherently incapable of peace. When Naruto uses Talk-no-Jutsu, he is preaching radical freedom. He tells Neji, you are the one who decides your destiny. He tells Obito, you are still the boy who wanted to be Hokage. By acknowledging their shared trauma, the I was like you trope, Naruto isn't just sympathizing, he is providing a counter-example. He is saying, we both suffered the same thing. You chose nihilism, I am choosing hope. Therefore, choice exists. This is why Talk-no-Jutsu is so devastating. It strips away their excuses. If Naruto can survive the same loneliness and still be kind, then the villain's cruelty was a choice, not an inevitability. That realization is more painful than any Rasen Shuriken. We can't discuss the philosophy of Naruto without touching on the concept of agape. In Greek philosophy, agape is the highest form of love, a selfless, sacrificial love for all humanity, regardless of their actions. Naruto's empathy is radical. It is unconditional positive regard, a term used in humanistic psychology by Carl Rogers. When Naruto sits down to talk to Obito, the man responsible for his parents' deaths, he's not looking at a monster, he's looking at a broken person. From a purely logical or justice-based perspective, like that of Immanuel Kant, Obito should be executed, but Naruto operates on an ethics of care. This philosophical framework prioritizes relationships and empathy over abstract rules of justice. By choosing to listen, Naruto restores the villain's humanity. This is why they often die shortly after. In a narrative sense, they can't exist as villains once their humanity has been restored. They have been healed. To be a good philosopher, we must look at the counter-argument. Is Talk-no-Jutsu always good writing? The main criticism is that it trivializes crimes. How can you talk to a guy who just nuked a village? This leads to the moral hazard argument. By forgiving these characters, is Naruto disrespecting the victims? However, Kishimoto addresses this through the lens of restorative justice. Naruto realizes that if he kills Nagato, Nagato's followers kill him, and the cycle continues. The only way to win a philosophical war is to convince the opponent that your truth is more true than theirs. If you just kill them, you've only proven that you're stronger, not that you're right. So, is Talk-no-Jutsu actually philosophical? Absolutely. It is the embodiment of the Socratic Method, Hegelian Dialectics, and restorative justice. Naruto Uzumaki is a philosopher king in the making. He understands that the self is not a fixed thing. We are constantly being rewritten by our connections to others. Talk-no-Jutsu is the act of reaching into someone's soul and helping them rewrite their own story. It's not a cheap way out, it's the hardest path possible. It's much easier to throw a punch than it is to look into the eyes of your enemy and say, let's find another way. But what do you guys think? Is Talk-no-Jutsu a brilliant subversion, or is it just overused? Which talk was your favorite? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives. Until next time, believe it.